Welcome back, everyone. Today's another beautiful day. We are en route to do some floor pans on a 1979 Trans Am, but before we do that, we have to make a stop at O'Reilly's to grab an oxygen sensor. We changed an oxygen sensor on an RSX a few days ago in the rain, but the customer got the wrong sensor, so we couldn't finish the job. We told him that we would just pick up the right sensor on his behalf, because unfortunately this is kind of what happens when you let customers order their own parts. They usually get the wrong part, and it kind of drags the repair out a little bit longer. So we just arrived at the location for the 79 Trans Am. We're going to be doing the floor pans on this car here. I'm not sure how much filming I'm going to be able to do, at least talking footage, because I'm going to be wearing a respirator. I'll be inside this car here, so you always want to be mindful of, PPE. I also do have my air scrubber in the truck. I'll be unloading it and getting that set up. I'll show you guys what that looks like. This here is what I use normally when I work inside of cars, when I do floor pans or when I do any kind of welding inside of a vehicle. This end you set up in the car with you, and then this side you exhaust out of the door. Works pretty well. This is, I think, like 3,000 CFM, so it moves quite a bit of air as you're sitting in the vehicle, so you're not getting smothered by the fumes. This is one of the floor pans that we're going to be replacing here. It has an old pad section. It's a pretty thin metal. We're going to drill these rivets and replace it. As well as this section here, you can see that my feet are currently through the car right now. The floor pan has already been removed out of this section, and we have the replacement section right here. We're going to be trimming this pan down, cleaning it up, as well as prepping this other area and installing this into here, welding all around, and similar type of service on this side. This is the type of work that we do on this channel, guys. It's me running my multiple service-based businesses out of the same pickup truck. If that's something that you're interested in, please subscribe to the channel, leave me a like or a comment with what's working, what's not. I would love to adjust, and continue to make better content for everybody who is actually watching. Not sure if the camera's picking it up there, but there's a very rough line here. It's not exact, it's not very straight either, but that doesn't matter because it's just going to be a very first cut as to where we're going to need to line things up. There we have it. We're cut down just a little bit on this side. We still have our seatbelt mount, which we're going to keep using as a reference point to make sure that we're not cutting too much, so we don't have to get a new floor pan and start the job all over. Here's the pan back in the car, roughly mocked up. You see we have our seatbelt hole here, which I said we're going to be using as a reference point. Now we can kind of slide this down into the car to get a better idea where it needs to fit. But I'm also just going to trim this down this line right here, because if you look under our our hole, we're not going to need that section anyways, because we have a pretty good ridge line there from the body regardless, so it's going to be irrelevant to us. You see it here, it's that's where the bolt is scraping. So in order to get a better fit, like I said, we're going to just run the grinder right down this ridge right here, being careful not to overcut, even though I know we won't need it, but I can't stress enough how much you want to take your time when you're doing a job like this. Second trim rough cut there, and we'll go back in the car and we'll test it again. You see that the tub now drops into the space where it's supposed to be. One thing we need to look out for is we need to make sure that the seat mounting points end up lined up in these holes. So while we do have good alignment up here with the seatbelt bolt, we need to make sure that the seats are actually able to mount back into this vehicle. So what we're going to do is move this around a little bit, get an idea, more or less where the rough alignment is. Like I said before, I'm going to be trimming this further down beyond the mount for the seatbelt regardless, so it's not really going to figure in the overall build anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to trace it from the bottom, following this line here, once we have a pretty solid fit of the pan in its location. So if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure to like and subscribe. This channel is all about the service industry, the automotive service industry specifically, where I come to people's homes and I perform services just like these on their classic cars every day. Stay tuned to the end and we'll have a final result on what this floor pan ends up looking like. Okay, so we used a regular grinding wheel in order to clean up a lot of the OEM sealant that's on here. It kind of clogs up the flapper disc
So I like to use a regular grinder disc, very carefully, and kind of just shave it all off. Now that we finished up that first layer, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a very hard wire wheel brush like this, and we're gonna get in here and actually scrub away all of this remaining stuff. After we do this, and we'll flap these corners here on the panel, and we'll lay in for, well, actually we'll clean up, clean the area, prep it really good, then we'll get ready for welding. So you see we cleaned off plenty here, clean metal that we can use now to weld on. You want to make sure you have a good amount of clean metal there to weld on. This is actually just a factory seam sealer here, not bad frame, it's just rubber. Working on, we ground a little area here to put our ground clamp. I suggest having a fire extinguisher on hand. Okay, there we have it, one welded floor pan. I ground down some of these areas here just to try to get them as flat as I could to get the weld a little bit more even. Here was a little bit easier to seam it in because there was a little bit of a tighter tolerance for the weld to sit in. So we just went all the way around. Here was a little bit of a fitment issue. We had to kind of, fill in with a little bit of weld. And this is that area that had that huge gap. We had to fill it in with some weld and then grind it back. Can't really see much because it's pretty dark already, but here's the second floor pan on the driver's side. It's all finished up, gave us a little bit of a heartache to get everything in place, but we are done with this one as well. Okay, so just a very quick recap here. I know the lighting sucks. I do apologize for that. I'm trying my best to get my video system together, but I want to film in the meantime, so this is the filming that we're going to get until I get a better camera and lighting situation going. Anyways, we are on our way home from the 79 Trans Am floor pans. The job went really well. The customer was really happy. It took us a few hours longer than we expected, but that's what you got to do when you want to do a good job. We also had our other customer stop by, the one that we did the O2 sensor for, and we put the right O2 sensor in the car, and he was really happy as well. So we technically did 2 jobs today. But this will be the end of this video. And again, if you're enjoying this series, like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate that, guys. Obviously, I have a very small channel, so it goes without saying that stuff really does help out.